Oh, they fixed it. Hey guys, good morning. Happy Sunday. I'm so glad to be back. I missed y'all. Between Susan and Kevin, they've worked me to death. It's been something. I appreciate y'all taking care of everything. Holly, thank you so much for taking care of the last 2 weeks we have while we have been working. I appreciate y'all so much. Don't forget about your Sunday selfies. Go ahead and take your Sunday selfies. Hashtag JGCC, JGUC, hashtag Sunday selfie. Is that all the hashtags? I don't know. Make up your own. Don't forget about, yeah, it's been 2 weeks. It's like I forget what I'm doing. Who am I? What am I supposed to do here? If you want to give, there you go. Wit's on top of it. Donations to joshuageneration.rocks, ROCKS. On our Venmo, we have a Venmo. Not sure what that is, but I'm sure Whit will get that up for you as well. Good morning, everybody. It's good to see everybody. Hope, it's good to see you. Good morning, Jackie. Y'all, Jackie's in Florida on vacation. All right, so we have new people, and I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but do y'all want to go around and introduce yourselves with your pronouns? I'm BB, she, hers.
Me?
Yes.
Oh. Christian, he, him.
Kevin, Hershey.
Hershey. I love that. Hershey.
I'm Holly, she, her, Hershey.
Hershey. That's it.
She, her. Nikki, she, her. I'm Cheyenne, she or they.
I'm Whit, they, them.
Maddie, they, them. Susan, I really don't care.
Freeman partner. All right, guys. So I want to talk today about holding space. And I think we've kind of been hitting on that for the last few weeks. We've been talking about holding space. Space, simply put, is an empty area that is available for use. And space is often unused or forgotten. Or, if you're like me, you fill it with clutter and nonsense. Right? All of my space in my house, that was weird. That just buzzed in my ear. Oh, it was a bee. All the space in my house is full of something. Like, I don't know, are y'all that way? Am I the only one? Oh my gosh, it's everywhere. You know, we fill our space with clutter and nonsense. But there is some kind of flying monster here in front of me. Okay. All creatures are welcome here at Joshua Generation.
Wants to be on camera.
So I want to talk about space. I want to talk about holding space, and I want to read from the Tao. Now the Tao says, "Between heaven and earth is a space like a bellows, empty and inexhaustible. The more it is used, the more it produces." And that's the 5th verse in the Tao. And the 11th verse says, "Shape clay into a vessel. It's the space within that makes it useful. Carve fine doors and windows, but the room is useful in its emptiness." So space is sacred and very important. Holding space means being physically, mentally, and emotionally present for someone. It means putting your focus on someone to support them as they feel their feelings, speak their truth, or sometimes just sit in silence. I know, being a pastor for, 18 years, 19 years, however long it's been. Hello, little buddy. Okay. Still dealing with my friend. Being a pastor for all these years, I have been around a lot of death, and when you are with someone who has lost a loved one, the best thing you can do is just be there. I learned a long time ago, don't try to make them feel better. You just listen. You just hold space. You're there. If they need to say something, just to listen, just to hear. And so sitting in silence is a very profound and powerful way to hold space for someone. It's a circle. And the circle is a universal symbol. Y'all have heard me say this a lot. The circle is a universal symbol with extensive meaning. It represents the notions of totality, wholeness, and original perfection, the self, the infinite, eternity, timelessness, and God. And Hermes said, God is a circle whose center is everywhere and whose circumference is nowhere. And that's a profound statement. Now I'm going to go to Jesus's words. Now I'm paraphrasing. This is the BBV. You believe in God, believe also in me. In God's house, in my God's house, are many dwelling places. I am going to prepare a space for you. You know the place where I'm going, and you know the way. I have used this verse almost every funeral I have ever officiated. Always. And we went to a funeral, Holly, and he used this verse. And for the first time I saw it different. It was like, why am I using this verse at the end of life? And so it occurred to me what I want you to see what I feel like Spirit has shown me about this verse. It's like, if you trust the divine in me. I am creating a space for you. And it's holy. You know this place. Come sit in this place with me and join me in spirit. And so it's like, in this verse, I'm seeing Jesus say, I'm creating a space for you. Come and sit down. And when I say Jesus, I'm talking about you and me, and, because we are all human and we're all divine. And so he's creating a space to be. Okay? To be. Oh, we miss y'all. We miss y'all so much, Kathy. All right, so holding sacred space allows you to be with an energy that informs you of a greater presence. Honoring what is, not what you want it to be, and allowing for something bigger than you to just hold you. Okay? So, I want to share a practice with you. It's called Satsang. Satsang is defined as a spiritual discourse or sacred gathering. It's also called an encounter with truth. Satsang is practiced in Buddhism, Hinduism, Jainism, yoga. Lots of different paths practice this gathering, spiritual discourse. Now, in Sanskrit, it means gathering together for the truth, or more simply, being with the truth. Truth is what is real, what exists, okay? It provides people with an opportunity to keep themselves engaged in divine-centered thoughts and actions and remain focused on their perspective path. I'm reading all this from the internet, y'all. Properly conducted satsangs can generate powerful, cleansing, inspiring, and purifying thought vibrations which can uplift the people who participate in them. So I'm talking about this now because Sarah and I went on a trip last week, and Sarah, y'all know Sarah, she comes usually every other Sunday. And she is a part of a satsang group, and she shared with me, we were talking about the guidelines, we were talking about holding space and how important this practice is of holding space. And she shared with me the guidelines, and I want to read them to you. They're very, very powerful. Our satsangs and I may be saying this wrong. Satsang. I'm from Mississippi. This is how we say satsang. Okay, not sat and sang, but satsang. Satsangs are a loving space for you to share more about the intersection between spirituality and your practical life. It's a place to share joys, challenges, gratitude, to set intentions out loud, and ask for prayer and spiritual support. Speaking out loud about something moving through our hearts can be a healing and empowering act. The Satsang is a non-academic space for us to connect and get to know each other's hearts in a deeper way. I love that. A way to connect and get to know one another's hearts in a deeper way. A more personal community space to enrich our connection with each other. It is not meant to be a formal group therapy, but more a listening space. And I love this part. A container where sharing and listening are practiced as forms of meditation in and of themselves. And it says, speak from your heart, listen from your heart. Listening is something we often listen to respond as opposed to listening to hear. Okay? And so learning to listen from your heart is a powerful, powerful thing. It says speak, and I love this part. Speak from your own lived experience. Do not assume others have had the same experience that you have. Make room for the quieter voices and introverts. If you have already shared, please make space for the others in the groups to share. And Sarah said that her teacher says it's the quieter voices that need to be heard the most. If you have asked for advice and there are responses, you're welcome to set a boundary. It's a safe space by letting the group know that you've taken in the responses shared and you'd like to move on to the next person. All right, and what is shared in these groups stays in these groups. So, as I read this, I wanted to look at it from Spirit's perspective. So, if you feel comfortable, you don't have to, but if you feel comfortable, close your eyes and listen to what I interpret as Spirit's interpretation of these guidelines. And I'm just going to read it from Spirit, okay? If you feel comfortable, just close your eyes and listen. I have created this loving space for you to talk to me about your human experience and share more about the intersection between your spirituality and your human life. I want to hear all about your joys, your challenges, and gratitude. Tell me what your intentions are and tell me what I can do for you to help you and support you. Speaking out loud about what is moving through your heart can be healing and empowering. I am listening intently and I hear you. This is a non-religious, non-judgmental space that is safe for us to connect and get to know each other's hearts in a deeper way. A more personal space to enrich our connection with one another. Speak from your heart because I am listening from mine. What a beautiful thing. A beautiful knowing that Spirit is holding space for us. Hebrews 10, 24 through 25 says, "And let us consider one another in order to stir up love and good works, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as is the matter of some, but exhorting one another. Y'all, this verse has been used as long as I can remember to guilt folks for not coming to church. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, why do I have to come to church? Forsake not the gathering together of yourselves. Jesus said, it's in the Bible. You're supposed to gather. You're supposed to come to church. If you don't, that's in the scriptures, and it's been used against me. And I've used it against people. I've quoted this scripture. Oh, Lord. Anyway. So, looking at it from this perspective, I looked up the words in the verse, and it says, and let us consider one another. That word consider means to perceive, observe, understand. To consider attentively and to fix one's eyes or mind upon. Consider one another. This is holding space. This is about holding space. This is about, being there in this space for the other person. Okay? And assembling means simply gathering together in one space. Holding space is a place where our divine meets with others' divine. It's a space where our humanity meets with others' humanity, and a place where we see one another and hear one another. So, when we hold space for others, we create a vessel for their emotions and feelings. When we hold space for others, we become that inexhaustible space between heaven and earth. And we are creating a space, not necessarily a dialogue. Often, and I'm the worst. I'm the worst about trying to fix the people that I love. People are talking to me and they're telling me what's going on. I'm just like, well, you should probably, and you may want to, and I immediately want to minister. I'm working on it. So if I start doing that, say, shut up, BB, just hold my space. I need you to stop and listen. I'm okay with that. You can do that. But it's people just want to be heard, not advised, unless they ask. Right? Seen, not analyzed or diagnosed. Y'all, when I took abnormal psych, I diagnosed everybody. I did. And our ego must be left at the door, because it is our ego that thinks we have the answer for everybody. Okay? It's our ego that thinks we can fix it for somebody, right? We want to fix people, or we think we have the solution. We try to answer questions that they haven't even asked. So, what I want you to see here, I'm trying to get this done before the train comes. Each time we meet another person, it is holy. It's not just gathering on Sundays at 11. Every time you are together with a person, it is sacred space. Listen. Even if it's a stranger, and I know this happens to a lot of us, that walk up to us in Walmart and start telling us their life story, listen and just say, I hear you. Is there anything I can do for you? Right? Understand that what they are saying is their truth, not yours. See their divine and their humanity and honor both. God is a circle whose center is everywhere and whose circumference is nowhere. In Ephesians, Paul's prayer was this. I love this with this I love this. I ask that out of the riches of God's glory, that God may strengthen you with power through divine spirit in your inner being, the space within, so that the Christ, y'all know we talked about what the Christ is. It's the Spirit of God. God is universe. So that the Christ may dwell in your hearts. Then you, being rooted and grounded in love, will have power together with all the saints to comprehend the length and width and height and depth, the space. That's what space is. It is length, width, height, depth, right? The space of the love of Christ. And to know this love that surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled in the space with the fullness of God. Just like the circle, sacred space is everywhere and nowhere. It's not a single specific place or a designated person or a day. Every person in every moment is an opportunity to hold space. Whether with the people you meet or just you in spirit. What we need to remember, and the divine is always holding space for us. Anytime, anywhere. And when we hold space for others, we are holding space for the divine. It's a circle. Sacred space is a place of love, healing, empowerment, and community. Inexhaustible, but the more you use it, the more it produces, like the Tao says. So, does anybody need to say anything? I'm opening this up to hold space if anybody needs to say anything, or anybody? Processing. Gotcha. All right. Yes. Well, I'll tell you this, and you may not have heard of Brittany, but she said that we automatically want to fix the issues that our loved ones have, and that's probably not what they need. And Sarah and I talked about this. People go through things and they need to feel it. They need to process it. And they need to accept it in their own time. Because what happens when we try to fix it, they don't have time to follow through with, and it just gets packed up in the bag and becomes more baggage that we carry around. So we go through things, we hurt, we need to embrace that. We need to process it. We need to see it's our process. I just need you to be there, with me through that process. And let me be angry. Let me feel my feelings. Let me feel what needs to be felt. And I'm learning that too. Even still, I still want to fix. I think we all do.
It's hard to do that when you see somebody you love
Hurting, yes.
Don't want to see them like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm learning that too.
Absolutely. But let me ask you this, and it's very hard to watch those that you love hurt, and I'm sure Spirit feels the same way about us. But when do you grow the most?
Down.
When you're hurting. When do you find the strength that you didn't know you had?
Get to the bottom.
When you get to the bottom. And I've been in, I've worked in recovery for years, and allowing people to hit that bottom is really, really hard. It's hard, but we have to do it. And that's not just in recovery, not just with, addiction. That is in everything, I think. I think we all have to just stand back. It's like if Stella, if I had carried her around because I didn't want her to fall down and hurt herself, she would not be walking. And so it's looking at it from that perspective helps to see it a little more clearly, and undoing, teaching ourselves to just be in that moment and just say, can I help you in any way? Or is there anything I can do? You know, and allow the person to ask for that help or advice or whatever. Or maybe they may just say, just give me a hug. You know, just, you know.
I was married to a woman once, and he would always come home with his problems. And at the time, I was an important person, and he got to fix anything. I said, I fix it. He said, I don't want you to fix it. I just want you to listen.
Wow. Mr. Freeman said that his wife used to come home with a problem and he would try to fix it. And she told him, I don't want you to fix it. I just want you to listen. And that's important, very important. Absolutely. Whit, what were you saying?
I think the reason why we try to fix is the same reason why like people try to distract us, so like you don't have to sit with them. Like that's what we need to do is sit with them in that pain or problem or whatever, like and help them cope with it maybe. But like you just have to sit there. It sucks. It sucks for both parties, but like
I'm glad you said that. Whit was talking about the reason we want to fix it is because it's uncomfortable. And learning to just sit with it, sit in someone else's pain, sit in someone else's, you know, hurt or even anger. I'm the worst when somebody's angry about making a joke, trying to make them laugh. Let me be pissed off for a minute. You know, it's important. We need that. We need to follow that through and then let it go in our own time. Let them make the joke so that, you know, but you're right, absolutely. And sitting in silence with someone is devastating.
it's uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable. You're just like,
But like that's how we live.
well, me and Susan sit in silence all the time. And it's, you know, we are always talking to people and we're always connected. But it's so nice to just be able to sit and not have to talk. You know that you're in the company of people that truly love you when you don't feel like you have to talk. That is space. That is, I'm just enjoying your company. I don't have to talk. We don't have to have a conversation. Don't tell me how the weather is again. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to have, just holding space. It's a wonderful thing. When you can sit with someone in silence, it's very powerful. So, anybody else? Anything?
I do.
Go ahead.
When you mentioned about gathering,
Mm-hmm.
it's still an important thing in people's lives.
Oh, absolutely. Gathering. 100%. That's what I'm talking. That space. That's what I'm talking about. Is holding space. Gathering. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm reading this scripture as, holding space for someone. It doesn't necessarily mean a church service or, you know, anything like. But even standing in the line at, like I said, at Walmart, when a stranger walks up to you and starts telling you, that is gathering and listening and setting your, you know, your mind on that person and listening to that person and holding space.
Socializing is can be a healthy thing to do.
Socializing is healthy. It's necessary.
And
It's
people wondering why we couldn't really socialize since last year. Like, I just tell people that we took socializing for granted.
That's a good point. That's a really good point, because we didn't have, we took socializing for granted, and the plague took it from us for a little while. It was hard to be. Well, we had to sit with ourselves. We had to hold space for ourselves during that time, and that's very important. Very, very important. And we have to remember that holding space for ourselves is just as important as holding space for someone else. I just need to be alone sometimes and have that space. Even though I'm an extrovert, you know, I still need that time. 50-50.
Both sides, yeah.
50-50, yeah. I'm getting there, kid. I'm getting there. I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm done peopling for today. I need space. Give me space. I need my space. And we all need space, and we need people to you know, hold space for us. Kathy, I miss y'all so much, you and Jay. I hope to see y'all soon. All right, guys. So I guess I'm going to close the space if anybody has anything else. But I hope that you will keep that in mind as we go through this week, and keep it holding space. It's every moment is an opportunity to hold space. I'm trying to slow down, because I'm always trying to go real fast, and so I'm not holding proper space for people. I think I'm just trying to get through to get to the next thing, and it's just because I'm just like, I just gotta slow down, and that's what I'm learning from this whole holding space practice, and I'm working on that. Working on it. So, all right, guys. Well, we love y'all. And am I missing anything? Am I forgetting anything?
You gotta pray.
I haven't prayed.
Begin or end.
Didn't pray. Didn't pray. You're right. All right. All right, guys. Well, let's end in prayer. God, we come before you and I thank you. First, I thank you for space. I thank you for holding space for me. I thank you for creating that space and always being in that space. And I thank you for teaching me to hold space for you by holding space for people. When I sit with any person, I'm truly sitting with you. No matter who they are, where they're from, what their beliefs, what their path, I am sitting with the divine. Help me to see you in each person and recognize the divine, recognize their humanity, and honor both. In all your beautiful names. Amen. Amen. All right, guys, we love y'all, and if you need anything, let us know. Bye, guys.